Hello and welcome to the Micropreneur Accelerator podcast. My name is Nina Sunday. I'm your host. And in this podcast, we will journey through the process of scaling and growing from being a solopreneur to being a micropreneur to being a seven-figure business owner. I made the same journey some years ago, and now I'm sending the elevator back down. In other words, it's my turn to, as legacy, is to mentor and help people expand and grow their businesses and their mindset and their awareness and their joy and their love of life. Did you ever see the film Cast Away with Tom Hanks, where he was marooned on a desert island and floating up was the debris from the plane crash that he'd was saved from? And one of the pieces of debris was a ball that floated, a basketball, and he painted a face on it and he named it Wilson. And that became his companion, someone to speak to. If you're working alone, you need a Wilson. And there are easy, quick ways to attract, retain, and brainstorm and enjoy the company and the leverage of having someone help you 1 day a week, 2 days a week, ad hoc as required. You just identify the right rhythm for you. In this first episode, I want to talk a little bit about how to hire smarter and recruit and attract better people faster. I won't get it all in one sitting. In fact, I also want to talk about how to get things done, how to quick ways to sell or little tactics that you can use in selling, how to scale and grow. But this is my opportunity to just share from episode to episode my thoughts around what was a mistake I made in the early days. And the beauty is I learned from those mistakes and I'm still surviving today. My business grew into a seven-figure business, but some years ago, I took a step back. As people left, I didn't replace them. And now it's a lifestyle business. I did a hometown return in 2017, and now I just operate my business from my home. Having said that, for about 20 years, I had a secondary office, a separate office, which actually was fairly large. At its peak was about 10 people and multiple contractors working around Australia. It was called, or is still called, Brainpower Training. And I have facilitators in the big cities in Australia. When COVID hit, that gave me the opportunity to actually move forward with an idea I'd had for some time, which was how to start a podcast, or starting a podcast. And now it's a high rating podcast called Manage Self-Lead Others. So in a very early episode, I will give you some tips on how to start your own podcast. But of course, how to do quick, short videos and how to get them edited and how to get the support you need. And I'm not talking about just VA virtual assistants. In fact, I am on LinkedIn. I recommend that. Connect with me on LinkedIn. But I find that I'm approached all the time by VAs or VA companies that say, oh, you want to hire a VA. You know what I like to do? I've been doing this since 2009. An ever-repeating source of talent are either college or university students wanting an internship, and it could be 1 day a week or 3 days a week. You'd be surprised how many students can actually fit in 3 full days a week and a full-time university course, because a lot of the times the lectures are now online. And the other source of talent is gap year students between their final year of high school and before they start college or university. Now, I'm aware that in Australia, in 2009, at least 17% of all high school students took a gap year, whether it be to work for the entire year or whether they worked for 6 months and then travelled overseas for 6 months. The figures suggest that in the United States, only about 3% of high school students take a gap year. However, having said that, often the only job they can get is retail, selling in a dress shop or some sort of retail store or working at some fast food chain. And if you have a business that is content creation, is social media creation, is digital marketing, even has videos that need editing, you are doing a college student, a university student a favor if you advertise a paid internship that will actually help their CV, their resume stand out. And in fact, that's been the story ever since 2009. I've had 3 or 4 different interns every year. And as one leaves, I'll quickly recruit the next one. I'll talk a little bit in subsequent episodes on how to recruit, how to interview, how to make the decision, because I've flipped it and I've made it so that people self-select, and it saves me a lot of work. I can do group interviews and get to know 10 people at one time, either over Zoom or at a face-to-face meeting that lasts only about an hour, rather than imagine every time you interview someone, that's an hour. Well, how about you do 10 people at one time, and that's still 1 hour, and you still can find out who is the best person for the role. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, and very soon we'll be having a landing page available at micropreneur.com.au. Please make contact with me on LinkedIn and tell me where you're from. Are you from Australia? If so, what state in Australia? Because 2024, we are going to start a mastermind group where together, this cohort will work together. We'll do hot seats. We'll help get you to talk about your dilemmas and your problems, and the collaboration of the group with me leading it will help you grow your business. Everyone needs a coach, and I can't name the number of coaches I've had over the years. I did a 5-day boot camp with Jay Abraham. If you've never heard of him, research Jay Abraham, one of the best of the best. I did T. Harv Ekker's program, but he brought out to Australia Alex Mandossian, and that's where I learned how to create my own WordPress website. I now can take on any website platform and turn that into content that I can then sell from. So it's all about becoming yourself tech savvy. I've got so many tips and tactics on how to sell, because you must learn to sell. Don't think that because you're the business owner that you can hire somebody to do the selling for you. Yes, you can, but in my experience, for the top salespeople, if you can't sell as well, 1, they won't respect you. 2, they'll get away with murder. You have to, what is it? Expect results and then inspect results. Don't just take their word for it. Anytime there's a small disaster or a dead end, just learn from it, get over it, and survive and thrive. If you are still doing business today the same way you were 5 years ago, you're not in business, you're going out of business. That's a little premise I found out in the year 2000 after I'd been in business for 10 years. And the other little saying, if you like, that I've lived by, this is a Michael Gerber, the E-Myth. The very initial book that he wrote in probably about the year 1990, very thin book, not the E-Myth Revisited. Grab yourself a secondhand copy of the E-Myth. And he talks about if you're alone working in the business, you are not an entrepreneur, you're a technician. And the only way you can be an entrepreneur is if you grow the business, scale it up, and have other people that you can leverage tasks to. Michael Gerber would ask, are you working in the business or working on the business? And in fact, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that's where they're talking about quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Quadrant 1 is doing the job. Quadrant 2 is improving how you do the job. Every 10 minutes you spend listening to this podcast is improving how you do the job. Welcome aboard. I look forward to communicating with you, creating my new tribe, and See you next time.